a member of the team IM, which stands for Incredible Miracle. Also named after a brand of drink, has won the GSL twice. Very strong Zerg indeed.
I am NesTea.
They were just in awe with that girl. So was I, man. I don't blame them. So there is the man himself, NesTea. A very wise and powerful Zerg. His opponent, at the top right, a member of the team Startail. His name correlates to the month. There he is. Going to be a little bit difficult for him because he's playing against the king of ZVZ.
Yep.
Now what's interesting is if he loses this, he has to play against Trickster again, who he already beat pretty convincingly. So it's not a very stressful situation for him. It's stressful to play against NesTea, but he knows at least if he loses, he plays against Trickster again, which he's very comfortable doing in the first place.
I don't know. When you're sitting in this position, you want to be thinking about the best possible outcome. He wants to beat NesTea here, but it looks like he's going to go for a fast expand to that back expansion, just like we were talking about. But on the other hand, NesTea not doing that. He went.
Yeah, a little bit surprised that NesTea is not going to do that. He looks like he's going to be going for a speedling expand. Now, if he finds out, which is relatively difficult to do if July, depending on how he scouts, if July blocks his scout and he doesn't see the backdoor expansion, it'll be a little bit difficult for him to kind of figure out what his next move should be. But if he does scout that backdoor expansion, he's going to have to make a Baneling Nest. That's how ZVZ works. If your opponent goes for a fast expand and you don't, he's going to have more production than you. He's going to have a lot more Zerglings, and you can just die to speedling all in if you don't have Banelings. Banelings also allow you to be aggressive, kill drones, do whatever you want, just kind of catch up for being behind.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have that spawning pool down now here for July. And the longer that, like you were saying, the longer that NesTea doesn't realize this, the further and further behind he's going to get. But he does have speed on the way now, actually taking his own expansion. I think he just wanted to be really safe.
Little idle drone over there.
Oop.
Nope, next to the mineral line. Oops. Uh-oh, those little things can make a huge deal in this matchup.
Absolutely.
So he's going to go ahead and take his own backdoor hatchery. Doesn't yet know what his opponent is up to. Hasn't really been able to scout. He's only used Overlords. He has some Zerglings at the top of his ramp to deny scouting. NesTea already transferring drones to that expansion. He's most likely going to take gas there pretty soon. If the next gas he takes will probably be that one because it is a high yield gas, or a rich Vespene geyser. That's what they call it. That's a technical term for it.
Interesting that neither player has actually scouted each other yet.
Yeah. Well, it just turns out that way. Both players see the other player's Overlord now, kind of at the bottom right position, so they kind of know exactly where their opponents are. They've checked everywhere else. They just don't know exactly what builds they were doing, which does end up being a little bit weird. July definitely getting the better hand here, able to take that backdoor expansion completely uncontested. But NesTea has faster Zergling speed. Will he use that? We'll have to wait and see. If he uses it, he can try to get ahead that way.
The timing window there is pretty small. If we have a look at the timing on the upgrade here for July, he's only got about 20 or 30 seconds.
Yeah, and right now he's actually going to use it to be very aggressive. He actually has a lot of speedlings out, 18 of them in fact, running around the map, and it's going to be very difficult for July to block his ramp. In fact, he doesn't have anything prepared for this.
There's 24 Lings in production right now. Ling speed is about to finish right in time as well as they pop. And NesTea's coming up the ramp now. He sees what's going on. Will he be able to see the Roach Warren being built though?
And speed versus speed right now. The Zergling count much higher for NesTea. Just a lot of those Zerglings haven't quite arrived yet. A better concave for NesTea here as well. July not engaging this as well as he could be. And it's looking like he's going to lose a lot more Zerglings than he should have. He has way more Lings at that position at that time. And he does eventually win that fight, but more and more reinforcements are coming, and that's what I'm talking about. NesTea just has so many Lings here. He's in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, there's undoubtedly a lot more in production. Actually, 7 Roaches in production here now. He's going to lose that Queen, though.
That is going to be pretty huge, losing that Queen.
He's also going to lose the second one if he's not careful. One of the Roaches that comes out has been surrounded. The more reinforcement Roaches coming in from the natural, but he lost both of those Queens. That is devastating for him.
Yeah, now what's going to happen is NesTea kind of has map control. He still has those Zerglings out. The Roaches are going to take forever to walk across cross-map. And so NesTea can just make a ton of drones and then get his economy up, get that max saturation on those 2 bases a little bit faster, then start cranking out the Roaches.
Yeah, he's also going to have to remake both of those Queens, which is a big dent. That's 300 minerals that he did not want to have to spend this early. He still can't scout that base either.
Yeah, of course both players kind of figured out now at this point, though, that the backdoor base is there. There's no way the production would have been the same with just one base. Well, he doesn't technically know it, but he knows it.
Yeah. These guys very experienced in both ZVZ in general and against each other. So when it comes into that, a lot of the things you just know is happening.
It's very true. And a very fast lair coming up here for NesTea.
There we go. We do have a couple of links coming in the main base here now. 4 July is going to get a scout, see what's going on, sees that Roach Warren, goes up to the natural, sees how many drones. The one thing he's probably looking for there is how many drones there are.
Exactly. That's very, very important. Because in ZVZ, you don't know whether or not your opponent is droning. And if he is droning, and you're droning a little bit but not as much as him, you get behind.
Yep.
If he's making attacking units and you're droning, there is a weird timing where you could just die to an attack, to a timing attack. And basically, if you're scouting a lot in ZVZ, which is relatively easy to do with overlords and such, every attack is almost a timing attack. You're like, oh, I just noticed you made a lot of drones, I'm going to attack you now. Or I noticed you made 2 evolution chambers, which we did see that July just made. I'm going to attack you now. I know your lair timing, I'm going to hit you. Oh,
nicely done by NesTea, getting a couple of links here. Does see the double Evo chamber. And pretty much exactly what July just did before. Both of them are sitting fairly even. Both of them now have their leads. And interestingly, a Spire is going up for NesTea.
Yeah, this is actually really interesting. I'm thinking the reason he chose this is because he knows his cross map. It's going to take the Roaches a long time to get across. I mean, this map is huge. Makes the Spire, and then from there he kind of controls the game. He knows there's evolution chambers there, so he's not like thinking, oh, well, maybe he's not going to make spores. That's not really what he's thinking. He's thinking, I'm going to have this ability to hold my ramp using spine crawlers, as you guys can see he's making right there. Excuse me.
But this Overseer actually coming through. Is he going to see the Spire? Where is the Spire actually located? I believe it's in the backdoor natural, but these Overseers do take a lot of damage here from the Queens. And oh, look at this. The Overlords are trying to block the view of the Spire. Has it worked?
I don't think he noticed it.
I didn't see the silhouette actually clicking on that Spire. Let's have a look going back here to NesTea's base.
Oh, he has. July has seen it. He's actually
dropped a changeling.
He's made spore crawlers. There's a changeling as well. He's making spore crawlers. He's actually got a fast infestation pit. Just kind of, he had already planned on building it with his roaches, just getting it pretty quickly. But that's going to be extremely helpful as well.
Yep.
Do you remember when there was a time where they considered making fungal growth not work against air units?
Yes, and I almost...
And then ZVZ was awful.
I almost punched my screen when I read that.
It was pretty funny when that did happen.
But we do see 7 Mutalisks, I believe, are coming out. Yes, indeed. Yep, 7. But 4 Infestors, they have got the timing where they're going to come out already with a fungal growth ready.
That's going to be quite huge. When you get those Infestors out with that timing, you have so much energy built up by the time your opponent attacks. Right now, there are, like you said, just 7 Mutas out. They're making an additional one, getting evolution chambers up, wants to keep up in the upgrade war. NesTea has taken the 3rd base to match July's, but he's also taken a 4th base to get even further ahead. You know, not only just compensate for his being a little bit behind.
But he's also taking it over here on the right-hand side, which is a fairly unusual spot for a 4th. You can't really defend it that well, but he does have that air superiority right now. He does have those... Oh,
he missed fungals!
He missed both times?
Whoa.
That has got to be tilting.
I can't believe he missed both times.
Yeah. If he'd caught them even once, he could have taken them down to a solo health.
And he would have had enough because he has 4 Infestors with enough energy. He would have been able to kill them. Very unfortunate for July. That's actually come into play a lot. He's going to have these Mutas that are going to allow him to counterattack whenever sorry, I'm getting these names confused. Whenever July moves out, NesTea has the Mutas, so he can come in and counterattack.
If he gets enough Mutas, he can actually just ignore the Spore Crawlers. Trading 1 Muta for about 10 to 15 drones is definitely worth it. You see a lot of spines going down here at the bottom for NesTea. Double +2 coming out now as well for these Roaches here for July. He's got those Infestors at the back, and NesTea looks a little bit in trouble with this unit composition right now.
He does. I mean, he's getting his own Infestors out now. He's got 3 on the way. The upgrade is done. He's a little bit behind in upgrades, though, and he's actually getting melee attack upgrades, so he may be trying to use some Zerglings in here. He may actually try to use some Baneling drops and such, because that does end up happening sometimes in ZVZ in the mid to late game. You just drop Banelings on top of your opponent. Infestors kind of help shut that down, but it all just depends on how it goes.
It's a lot about positioning, especially when Infestors come into play. And it also, both these players will want to try and split up their Infestors. I've seen quite a few games where there's like 5 to 10 infestors all in one group, and then you just fungal them a couple of times and it's all gone.
Yeah. Well, these Zerglings wanted to scout, and they were able to see that giant triangle of spine crawlers there.
Yeah, and even more going down as well. NesTea does not want to be attacked by these roaches.
Yeah, he's really utilizing the fact that the map is huge, but even so, he's making it very safe with what he does. He's checked around several times as Zerglings trying to find if there are hidden expansions for July. So he knows he's got the 4th base. He knows that he's up on bases. He's just mining gas from that. Hold that thought. A few of these mutas do get fungled. And, of course, even a Queen helping out here. The Infested Terrans take out those mutas.
Yeah, it looks like, oh, NesTea going to work on the back rocks. Or not really the back rocks, but the rocks down into the natural.
Yeah, he's just opening up more avenues of attack, but it looks like he may get fungled. Does react quickly enough and backs away.
Looks like July doesn't even care. He's going to take those rocks down. Wants to make sure nothing's coming from there. There are a lot of spine crawlers at NesTea's main.
That is so many spines. He just wants to use this Mutalist style to buy himself time and hold that other base. Yep. So he's making all these spines just in case July says, I'm not going to worry about the counterattack. I'm just going to go. And so he wants to be prepared for that kind of situation. That's a lot of drones lost. In fact, there are 16 spine crawlers there.
Ultralisk Cavern.
That is pretty unusual.
That's very unusual.
The cool thing about doing this is if your opponent has an almost purely roach composition and infestors don't work against ultras, and ultras do decently against roaches. I don't want to say they do really well, but they do decently.
Looks like we're going to see a Ling Ultra Infestor mix as well with a few mutas popped in here for NesTea. We do see Adrenal Clans being researched as well.
+2 melee attacks on the way as well. And you know, I've seen T-Gun do this a little bit sometimes in ZVZ. I actually sit next to T-Gun when we're practicing in the house, so sometimes I look over and he does this kind of style in the late game of ZVZ. Oh no!
Oh! He only caught a couple of mutas there from the animation. I thought he would have gotten them all, but he's going to lose 2 more mutas. And he's also taking a 5th base as well.
Actually, he didn't lose those mutas, and they are going to kill an infestor. They're getting revenge. He doesn't want to fungal those. All right, there he goes.
And this makes a lot more sense now coming in that NesTea took that back natural with the extra gas.
Makes much more sense now. Now that +2 Carapace is going to finish up here for NesTea here pretty shortly.
8 ultras in production.
That is a lot. Now July has his own Ultralisk Cavern though, unstable.
Yes.
This is pretty weird. Both players making ultras. 6 ultras in production for July, 8 ultras in production for NesTea.
Interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this, I'm like, is this really happening right now? It's a late game ZVZ with Ultralists in production for both players. Have you ever seen Ultralists fight Ultralists?
No,
Sounds like
I
the most badass thing to watch ever. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, just looking at the upgrades though, I think July is still ahead.
Yeah, actually, let me check that really quick. It's actually even 2-2, except the +2 missile attacks for July and +2 melee attacks for NesTea. As soon as those finish up, they're almost done.
Both of them are upgrading everything here for the ultras as well.
Now, there are a lot of infestors for NesTea. That's going to be really helpful against the roach-heavy army of July. The infestors for July are going to be useful only against Zerglings. Of course, the ultras really won't come into play, but I think the combination of units is a little bit better for July because if he fungals those Zerglings, they're just going to die. They just die instantly. They can't do anything. They can't move. They can't fight.
But here we go. We're going to see them. Fungals. That looks awesome with the fungal on the Ultralisk. Infested Terrans going everywhere. The mutas coming into play as well. I'm surprised that they're not That is so many Infested Terrans.
That is so many Infested Terrans. And it looks like NesTea is going to crush through a lot of this. He's trying to walk the Ultralisk past, but his own Infested Terrans are actually slowing down their pathing. And it looks like we are going to have a small counterattack from July. This is a weird situation. I don't know. This is really weird. The Ultras did look really weird with that fungal on them. Of course, they can still move while they're fungled, but they do take the damage.
We've got 11 roaches and 6 more ultras in production here for July. He might be able to clean up the rest of these. He does have a lot of roaches coming in from the left as well. Finally cleaning up all these ultras as they are low on health. This is extremely interesting.
This is just interesting. I just want to like give you the casting chair and just go through the game. I just want to watch. I'm like, no, hold on. I can't talk right now. I'm watching this. But seriously, it looks like this little counterattack from July will be thwarted with good fungals. But the roaches are just split so well. The ultras are just not doing as much damage as they could be. And he's actually going to use Infested Terrans instead of fungals, and a decent choice.
Always, July does have the option to do exactly what he's doing here, just kiting these ultras as best he can. They do a lot of damage in those great numbers, but looks like he's also taken another base. All these spine crawlers being moved up to the base in the middle here.
Yeah, those spine crawlers actually are going to come into play here. Now, a little counterattack by July. This time, he has the high ultra list count. And those ultras, though, not going to be able to go through these spine crawlers very easily. Some Zerlings coming in to tank the damage as well. And this is actually the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen on Stable. But there are so many roaches here for July, but it doesn't matter because the spine crawlers are here. I'm not entirely sure why July is trying to attack into this location. Why would you ever attack into ultralists with spine crawlers on their backs? Why would you ever do that?
I don't know. It seems to be working through all these ultras now. There's a lot of roaches here, but he hasn't actually killed any of the spine crawlers.
He's just lost all of his entire army. Why did he do that?
GG. Wow.
Why would you do that? It's like you see 10 ultralists with spine crawlers on their backs. Like, let's just say they're on their backs, right? They're actually spine crawlers on top of the ultralist backs. And then you're just like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go for it. No, you just don't do that.
And July with his stone face yet again. So we are going to see a July Trickster rematch.
Yeah, we are going to see that to decide who gets second and who gets third. Obviously, Rain gets fourth.
I cannot wait to get back to the Golem House and go, Chef, how does this work? Because I've never seen that before. Of course, you haven't either.
Yeah, so NesTea packing up his keyboard because NesTea played against Rain already. You guys didn't see it, but it was off camera. Rain sat down. They put a little fake Rain in the booth, and then it was over. So, that's it. NesTea gets first place in the group.
Yep.
Only with one win, but that's just how it works. He played against Rain first, and Rain's not here. And now we're just going to have a rematch between Trickster and July to see who advances to the round 16. The loser will stay in Code S. Rain drops out of Code S, obviously. He's already relinquished his position.
He goes down to the up-down matches, so...
yeah, actually, that's...
Still not completely out, but it's going to be a couple of months until he actually gets... completely gone.
They may actually just free up that spot. I don't know exactly how GOM's going to do that. They do things, I think, on a case-by-case basis, which I like, because there are just certain situations that are weird and different. So...
It's alright. Rematch still.
That was so weird, though. That was like the most epic game I've ever casted. Except at the end, July attacked. Like, he was doing well against the Ultras. He was engaging them off creep. I mean, engaging where the roaches were on creep so he could kite them. Whenever it was on creep, the Ultras just couldn't keep up. But then he had this advantage where he could have made another base, could have been more mobile with his roaches, because Ultras, they're fairly mobile, but they're not that mobile. And then he just decided to attack for some reason.
Well, running it through my head, he did lose that fourth base. He's trying to get another one up. NesTea still do have another 2 down on the bottom right-hand side. July did take out the one at the top left, but it was really those 2 down the bottom. Yeah. He just didn't have the production to keep up, I feel.
But when it's max versus maxed, if you've got an army that's better than your opponent, you just keep killing his ultras and keep making him remax, and that buys you time to get more bases.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I feel NesTea had the better resources in that situation.
Yeah, he had more resources for sure, but July had an opportunity to try to catch up using his more mobile force. He just didn't do that. He just decided to attack into spine crawlers, and I mean, it was definitely behind, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think his decision was a little weird, though. A little weird, just a little bit strange. Attacking the ultras and spine crawlers on the backs with just some roaches.
Yeah, I think that did break the record for the amount of infested Terrans in the game at one point.
Yeah, I couldn't even see what was going on. The ultras couldn't walk past the infested Terrans, but actually heard him to drop them. As the ultras were like, I don't want to step on my little baby infested Terran eggs. I don't want to crush those. Ultralists are actually really, really nice creatures. You can look up a comic on TL. I noticed that it surfaced back up today. It was called The Happy Ultralist, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Little comic. It actually popped up back to the front page today. I saw that. I was looking at it. All right, so the map is going to be Metalopolis that July and Trickster have their rematch on. So, pretty decent map, pretty balanced map. It is going to be PvZ, for those of you guys who didn't see that. We did it in Game 1. July definitely the favorite here. He basically crushed a timing attack for Trickster last time. So we'll see what happens this time. The countdown is starting. Will Trickster tie it up, or will July give him a 2-0 and take second place in this group? Let's find out. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
I just meant between the two of them. All right.
Nice save. Nice
the map is loading. No, I'm serious. The map is loading. See you guys in the game here at GSL Code S.